We keep things moving along. A thought-provoking talk is coming up. By the title of it, I think it's going to be very interesting. We have Why the Metaverse Needs a Reality Check. Here, the CEO of LandVault, one of the largest and fastest metaverse builders with over 100 million square feet of virtual experiences for brands like L'Oreal, MasterCard, Hershey's. These are some big names. Please put your hands together for Sam Huber.
Hey everybody, awesome to be here. My name is Sam Huber. I'm the founder of a company called LandVault, and we have been building in the metaverse mainly for brands and big organizations for over a year now. Actually, the 1-year anniversary of LandVault under that name was in June. So for this specifically, I wanted to recap a little bit about this crazy 12 months that we've just been through. So today, we are based in Dubai. We have offices in the UK as well, which is where we come from originally, the US. But Dubai is really where we see a lot of opportunities. So we made a big move earlier this year. And we are generally seen as a large metaverse builder. So we have teams, about 120 people, that are able to build in every single platform, from Sandbox to Roblox to Decentraland, and now our own experiences as well. We've raised significant venture capital. The company before it was called LandVault, which I started in 2018, was actually a gaming company. We've been helping brands enter games since 2018. So even though it wasn't called Metaverse, we're not new to the concept. And we've done over 200 projects in about 18 months, helping big brands, as we've just seen right now, the MasterCard, the Heineken, the Standard Chartered, governments, French government, Abu Dhabi government, but also more Web3 brands. This is actually how it started, the likes of Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and a lot of other NFT projects as well. But it's been a crazy 12 months, and the metaverse, the way that it was back then, 12 months ago, and the way that we think of it right now has changed a lot. You must have seen the highs and then the lows of the market, pretty much crashing, and everyone, the press, basically saying that the metaverse was just a fad. So for us, as a business that is 100% focused on this day in, day out, it's been an interesting one to navigate. So about 12 months ago, this is how we were presenting ourselves to our clients. So this was the pitch about 12 months ago. It was playful. It was mainly focused on platforms like Sandbox, Decentraland, Roblox, very gamified platforms. And the true attraction for brands to be there was very much driven by hype, right? We rode that wave pretty well. We had some crazy stories back then when the metaverse, Meta, was just being rebranded. Every single brand, advertisers that we had as a gaming business started to ask about metaverse, and they all wanted to build some things. And the motivations then was really driven by hype. At the time, we didn't really recognize this. We just thought we had amazing product market fit, we're doing the right things. But in retrospect, thinking about what happened was just crazy. We had big brands, Fortune 500 brands, that would basically call us and say, on Friday, our CEO is announcing that we're entering the metaverse. Now it's Monday. What can we do during the week? This was the urgency that was there at the time, where brands were basically looking at it the wrong way around, by looking at announcement first, positioning first, then what can we do to fit that narrative. We also sometimes were getting paid before the work was done, just to lock in the project. This is not normal traditional market behavior. There was clearly a hype there. But at the time, we just thought, it's great, everything is working. We were doing about 35 projects a month. The business went from $0 to $10 million in revenue in about a quarter. It was pretty crazy. And then, pretty quickly after that, we started to see the market soften a little bit. Q4 was still pretty good, but we didn't book as much business, and therefore Q1 was lower, and then Q2 was even lower. And so this was really the time where we started to be forced to think about, okay, what is actually happening there, and forcing us to think about the basics, the fundamentals. Why would people even need the metaverse? The whole press was basically saying that the metaverse was just a fad, this was just an idea, but it will never see the light of day because it was already dead before it was even born. So we had to really think for the first time, when everything works well, when you're making money, you're hiring, you're growing the team. We doubled the team last year from about 75 people to about 150. You just think that everything works. You don't really question why things work. And the truth is, most of what we were selling was hype at the time. The platforms didn't really do much. You couldn't really create huge experiences yet. It was just a way for brands to be there, to be seen first, to be able to announce that they were in the metaverse. And when the hype was gone, the desire from brands to enter the space obviously went down as well. But we really tried to go deep to the basics. And to me, the basics are driven by gaming. Gaming, as we know, is a huge industry. It's not stopping down. It's not slowing down. You have about 3 billion people playing games every single day, and they're spending about $200 billion in virtual goods within those games. So in terms of entertainment, gaming is really eating up all the other forms of entertainment. In fact, it's about 3 times bigger from a revenue perspective than all the other forms of entertainment, like movies and music. So gaming is really eating entertainment. And the metaverse is basically a game, but applied to new use cases that go beyond pure gaming, right? In the metaverse, you can do a shopping experience, a social experience. Maybe you visit a new country. So it's basically gaming technologies applied to non-gaming use cases. So if you think this way, the press was saying no one wants to live in those worlds. No one wants to consume this content. There's nothing to do there. But then you have 3 billion people playing games every single day. So the fact that people like to evolve in 3D environment, that they like to spend money on virtual assets, the metaverse doesn't need to create a new behavior for that. Gaming has already done that. So to us, this was the core fundamentals of why the metaverse still has ground. The execution of the metaverse at the time was the problem. There's not much to do there. It wasn't that exciting. But the concept of spending time in virtual environments, we see that as a natural evolution of the internet. To us, the metaverse is just that, a 3-dimensional version of the internet. So knowing that, we now were convinced that at least we were in the right industry, and it's just the execution that was not done the right way. And this is why most platforms didn't have many users, and also this is why there was just not much to do there. So we had to move into that utility era, moving from the hype era into actually creating utility in the metaverse. So how did we do that? Well, mainly we started talking to customers. And our customers at the time were brands, but we're also starting to see governments, especially in the Middle East, as being specifically interested by virtual worlds. And their perspective was that a virtual world would be the best way to promote what they're doing to the rest of the world. And this is what we now call the concept of second best thing. The best thing to promote something is to actually experience it in real life. Let's take the example of Dubai, for example, who likes to promote what they do, like to promote their building, their culture to the rest of the world. Of course, the best way to experience Dubai is to go to Dubai. But for the billions of people who cannot go to Dubai, what is currently the second best way to experience it? That would be a video, a great video about Dubai. And the idea here is the metaverse could become better than a video. It's never going to be as good as actually going there. But experiencing an environment in 3D, being able to go with friends, and maybe it's in VR, but it's actually 3-dimensional, you can interact with things, this is going to be a better experience than a video. You're going to feel a little bit more closer to reality. It's never going to be as good as reality, but it's going to be the second best thing. And this is what we see the value of the metaverse to actually be, the second best thing after reality. So we're not trying to replicate reality, but we're trying to be better than videos. This is basically what we see the value of the metaverse. So this was part of our thinking. What is actually the metaverse? What are we trying to do? Why does this business actually have value? So we now have a clear understanding of what the metaverse is, 3D internet, and why is it going to be used for. So then it was more about the tactics. How do we want these things to look? And again, we talked to brands, we talked to customers, and they came up with things that were very simple, yet completely overlooked by most of the platforms. The first thing that came out when we asked clients, what would it take for you to keep spending money in the metaverse, was high-fidelity graphics. Now, it sounds like obvious, but this is actually something that is just pretty overlooked by a lot of the platforms. Now, of course, there's a space for Roblox. I know it's a huge platform. They're very successful. I'm not saying they need to change the way that their graphics look. But for Metaverse, where you have a use case beyond game, where it's more about showcasing things, you need high-fidelity graphics, graphics that people can engage with, can actually find some kind of attachment to. And that also do a great job at showcasing what it is that is there to be showcased, right? The wow factor. It's hard to do in an environment that is completely gamified. So high-fidelity graphics is something that all the clients said it's the main priority. Now, the good news is, if you look at platforms like Unity, Unreal, you're able to build amazing things. So the technology is already there. It just wasn't really employed by the current platforms. Second thing was about accessibility. Having to download an app only on desktop, you need to buy land, you need to buy crypto. These are just too many things, too many barriers to entry for the average person to access the environment. So we thought, let's just build it on the web, something that you can access directly from a link. Instead of browsing a 2D website, you get on a link, you click, and you get transported into a 3D experience. Easy. The third thing was about ability to monetize. Most of the brands, most of the clients that we have, they're trying to build a business. They're not really just trying to market what they do and do a one-off campaign. So the ability to be able to monetize their 3D worlds, whether it's through e-commerce or advertising or sponsorship, whatever it may be, that's really, really important. Luckily, our core business was to build monetization tools for games, which are now also applied to metaverse experiences. So now we knew, basically, that the metaverse was still a right place to be. 3D internet, this is going to be massive. We are seeing that shift to 3D, powered by gaming. We knew what the value proposition was, this second best thing after reality. And we also knew the things that brands needed in order to keep spending money with us, but also with others. And so we looked at the platforms that were actually able to do that. And obviously, we didn't find a lot of platforms. So we decided to build our own tech stack. So LandVault is transitioning from a studio in the metaverse to a tech company, going back to our old gaming roots, and building an entire tech stack to help create, deploy, and monetize metaverse experiences in a way that will be supported by AI, really easy to use, so anyone can create 3D experiences, just like you create your own website in a few clicks. In addition, we've also upskilled our team, and now we're building environments that are high fidelity and things that you actually be amazed by and want to consume, such as those. So this is just to give you a brief overview of what we have been through as a metaverse company in 2023. I'm sure that if some of you are also in the space, you probably can empathize with you know, what we've been through and the search for true product market fit. I think the good lesson here is that 2023 was obviously the hardest year for everyone in the metaverse, but I also think it was, in a way, the most exciting and the most rewarding year. Because if the bull market continued and people would just keep spending money on those platforms, we wouldn't really have asked ourselves, why are we doing this? What is the real value proposition? What are we trying to achieve? What's in it for those brands? What's in it for those clients? Why are they spending money with us? Because they would just do it for other reasons, such as PR and hype. And so, in a way, this is the best thing that happened to us was the bear market that forced us to ask the hard question. So I encourage every one of you, if you're running your own project or if you're an entrepreneur, to always second guess things, especially when things are actually working, because this is the best way to actually figure out what are the next steps and make sure to always second guess what you're doing and try to figure out the real reason why people actually want your product. Thank you, guys.